This one goes until 9:15, so it has been extended. So again, Lewin, this one includes you. That's an area that was hit hard by the last outbreak, so to speak, of tornadoes that we had, and now unfortunately you're under the gun again with this cell that is definitely defined in terms of at least the rotation. No confirmations with this as of now. At one point though, in its history, it was confirmed. Now it's still radar indicated, but hopefully we don't see any more debris signatures, which means it will be on the ground and creating some damage. But again, there's a rotation. It's going to be pushing across 18 and eventually making its way into the Jasper County area. So Lewin, heads up, if you are in the path of this or anywhere between 37 and Lewin, you want to already be in that safe place. Again, that lowest level, away from windows, bathroom, closet, get to the storm shelter. Now, Bay Springs, at one point you were not under the polygon, now you are. So again, go ahead and get to your place of safety. It could be a basement, again, something of the sort. Just keep as many walls between you and the outside, and you definitely want to get away from those windows. So here's a broader view, and we have 3 tornado warnings in place right now. Again, 2 are in the Smith County area. We have 1 that has been extended now into the Jasper County area. Everywhere else, we're just dealing with some really steady rainfall, which is great news, but this severe weather is not great. So we're going to take a different perspective. We'll look inside of the storm. Again, we're going to take you back to the velocity to show you what we're watching, and we're looking for the areas of rotation. So as we look inside the storm, looking at the velocity signatures here, again, you want to look for where the red has touched the green. That's just the most basic way of putting it. And again, you see something that kind of sticks out here, and this is the area that we're watching now, somewhat just to the east of that 37 corridor here. Chase just circled it, and as you can see there, it's very defined. It sticks out. It's pushing towards Highway 18. Just around that Silverena area. So again, if you're there, you want to already be in your safe place. Hopefully you're watching us with your phone. Hopefully your phones are charged and ready to go so that you can stay with us as we track these for you. And again, that's where we're watching that rotation. It is expected to maintain itself, and it could possibly make its way well into the Jasper County area. So if you're in the Stevens area, you want to go ahead and get to your safe place. Bay Springs, you are now within the polygon, so you want to go ahead and be in your safe place. Same for Lewin, again, an area that was hit hard by a tornado not too long ago. You want to go ahead and get to your safe place. Similar for the Montrose area, this extends over towards Ross. Eventually, it'll be crossing over 503 and maybe even impacting areas around the Penantley area if it can again hold together. So here's a broad view of what we're watching. Again, we do have 3 active tornado warnings right now. 2 are within the Smith County area, and even the 3rd one is for the eastern parts of Smith County, but it's going to extend into Jasper County. Areas that are in the clear, if you're south and west of the Raleigh area, you're more so in the clear. Again, the rotation is now east of you. Similar for McGee, you are also in the clear. So if you're west of 35, around Mize, you are in the clear. You are no longer under a threat for being impacted by this particular tornadic cell. But of course, we're still under the gun for possible severe storm, so you want to continue to have ways of getting alerts. Cohea, you're now in the clear. Similar if you're around the 540 corridor to the north there, you're also in the clear. But again, if you're around, let's say the Raleigh area, still you want to stay in that safe place. You're almost out of danger, so to speak, with this particular cluster. Again, we do have 2 areas of rotation. 1 that is now extended a warning into Jasper County. Heads up for Lewin, that tightest rotation is headed towards your area. Similar for Bay Springs. And here's a look at what we're watching here. And again, just around the Bay Springs area, again, this is what we're keeping an eye on. But again, this is moving north and east. And at last check, it was moving at about 35 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and give you the latest timeline on this as it pushes into the Jasper County area. So again, if you're in Lewin, you want to go ahead and get to that safe place. Similar for Bay Springs, Stevens as well. Again, it's going to be moving more so parallel to Highway 18. So again, this is a dangerous situation. You want to make sure you are in that lowest level of your home. Get away from the windows. Put as many walls between you and the outside. And it's going to be impacting areas around the Jasper General Hospital area as we head towards 823. Bay Springs, your way potentially about 824, which is not too far from now. And then as we work our way towards that Lewin area, it could be headed your way as we head towards 832. Right now it's 824, so a little less than 10 minutes you have to get to that safe place. Montrose 839, and eventually towards that Rose Hill area as we get closer to that 9 o'clock time frame. So again, this is a new tornado warning now impacting a good portion of Jasper County. don't travel at this point. If you are in Jasper County, stay put. If you have plans on, let's say, coming from Clark County and driving over to Jasper real quick, no, stay in your safe place. Do not travel. Let this particular storm, actually a couple of them that are moving through that are rotating, let these move on out before you try to maneuver those roads. Stay in the safe place because it's very dangerous out there, not to mention very heavy rain and also some frequent lightning. So let's go ahead and take a look at the reflectivity, Chase, and just kind of show folks how bad it is out there. Again, we are looking inside the storm right now with the velocity, but when you look at the reflectivity, you can see how dangerous it will be to try to drive out there because, again, the bright colors with this indicates the heavy rain. It's going to be hard for you to even see what's happening out there on the roads, considering we're talking about blinding rain right now, indicated by the yellow and the orange and the red colors, even some pops of pink, which would indicate to us that there is some reports of hail in these storms as well. So we're going to give you a different perspective. Let's look and see what the hail signatures look like, see if the radar is picking up on the potential for hail. We definitely do see that approaching the Bay Springs area. Now, this is a radar scan, so it may be advanced a bit in the next, let's say, minute or so, but regardless, again, this particular sail that's pushing towards Bay Springs on top of rotating, again, it has the potential to drop roughly about a quarter-sized hail indicated by that inch that you see there. So again, we have hail with this, we have frequent lightning, we have very heavy rain. Again, the storm is rotating, so it could spawn a tornado at any moment. You want to make sure you're in a place of safety. You do not want to travel at all right now if you're in Jasper County or anywhere east of there. Clark County, get to a place of safety. You still have time. But if this can make its way east, if it can hold together, it's going to be impacting Clark County as well here shortly. So we have a tornado watch in place for our Mississippi counties until 11 o'clock. That doesn't mean that our Alabama counties aren't going to be under the gun for possible severe weather. It just means that you're still farther away from the threat. So in due time, we're expecting some of these to be shifted east, potentially. Hopefully things improve, but we still have the potential for at least maybe Choctaw County to be included within the watch. It just depends on how all of these kind of evolve. But right now, we're watching several tornado warnings. One that's in, let's say, the Smith County area, the one for northern Smith County, that goes until 8:30. Right now it's 8:26. We have the southern tier of that one that is just to the west of Bay Springs. Again, that one goes until 8:45, but the one that includes Bay Springs, Lewin, also a good portion of Highway 18, that one goes until 9:15. It includes Ross as well, Paulding, Montrose, you're all within that polygon. So it's very important that you get to your safe place. Do not travel. If you know anyone getting off of work at, let's say, 8:30, go ahead and give them a call. If they work in Bay Springs or Lewin, tell them they need to stay where they're located, a nice sturdy structure, and not to maneuver those roads until the threat passes. Chase, you have any updates?
As of right now, there are no updates from the National Weather Service, but we are still looking for that debris signature. It's not really there, but this is a storm that has produced a tornado in the past. Just a little bit earlier, about 30 to 45 minutes ago, the storm actually did produce a confirmed tornado on the ground. So we were actually seeing it come back up in real time as well. So it's currently, it's weakening a little bit, but you can still see that tight rotation indicated just to the west of that Bay Springs area. So you can see exactly kind of what we're looking out at on this side, so I can actually see. So just to the west of the Bay Springs, that area right there, where you can see that bright red and that bright green kind of mixing in together, that's the main area of rotation that we're really looking at as it moves more towards the northeast. If you are in that Bay Springs area, seek shelter immediately. Live off to the north along that Highway 15 area. It's still fairly broad, but still tightening as we are continuing this talk as of right now. So it'll be pushing more towards the northeast. Bay Springs, please seek shelter immediately. Lewin, Montrose, and if it still holds together, Clark County needs to be keeping a close eye on this. I-59 and Highway 11 also needs to keep a close eye on this. So we're going to get a track here as it continues to push more towards, it's still moving at 35 miles an hour, correct?
Yes.
So northeast at 35 miles per hour. It is 8:28 right now, about to turn 8:29. So if you are in Bay Springs, seek shelter immediately. Right now, this storm has been known to produce a confirmed tornado on the ground. So we're going to be seeing it continuously moving to the northeast. So Bay Springs, seek shelter immediately. Lewin, same thing. McNeil, 8:44. You're going to be seeing it start to roll into your area. Ross, around 8:46. We do have an updated scan as of right now, but we're still going to be seeing this moving off towards the northeast and continuously into much of our counties into maybe even Clark County if it still is able to hold together and hold strong. So you can see that there is still that area of broad rotation still trying to stay tight, but you can see what our main threat is, that hail core that it's still leaving behind with it. We had a little bit of estimates around that 1 inch mark, so about quarter-sized hail have been reported behind that Bay Springs area as it continues to push more towards the northeast. So Bay Springs is probably experiencing this hail as of right now. It's actually probably already past it just a little bit. You can see those little pink dots. Those are that hail core that we were watching for, which has a lot of uplift in the storm. And this storm has been producing large hail for quite some time now. So there's a lot of uplift, and that has been associated with the possible rotation in the storm. So it's going to continue to track to the northeast. Bay Springs, you're pretty much in the thick of it as of right now. It's going to be following along that Highway 15 area, maybe a little bit in between that Highway 15, in between that Highway 18. So we'll be watching it continue off towards the northeast. Ross, you can see that very broad area of rotation starting to tighten up just a little bit to the northwest of that Lake Como area as it continues to push. It is looking like it's going to follow along that Highway 18. I'm sorry, I'm going to correct myself. Highway 18 instead of 15 that I said a little bit earlier. Still, if you're in Lake Como, Acme, if you're looking into Waldrop, you have to be taking this very seriously. Into Ross and into much of Paulding, you're going to be seeing along Highway 503, Highway 18, along all of these areas. You want to be seeking shelter immediately. Still continuing along 503, Rose Hill, Pennisley, and then all the way into some of Clark County by the time that if it still actually holds together. Now, this warning does go until 9:15 in the evening. So Lewin, Montrose, you're not necessarily out of the thick of it as of right now, but let's look at the areas that are actually in the clear. So this warning goes until 8:45, so it still has about 15 minutes on it, but as you can see, a lot of the rotation has already passed over much of this area. So Taylorsville, Mize, places that we were just talking about, Raleigh, it seems as though you're pretty much in the clear as of right now along areas of Highway 35 and Highway 37. Tratzler on that back end, you're just going to be dealing with a flash flooding warning as of right now, but we're still looking at this main tornado warning that will continue until 9:15 as of right now. Still pretty broad rotation, but there's some areas where it's showing a little bit more tighter as it moves more towards the northeast. It's pretty much right on top of the Bay Springs area right now. It seems to be showing a little bit of weakening compared to what we saw just a little bit earlier, but still there is that sign of rotation in this storm as it continues to pretty much move more towards the northeast in between that Highway 528 and Highway 18 area. So roughly right in there, just to the east of that Bay Springs area, north of Lake Como, in between Highway 18 is going to continue tracking towards that northeast. Paulding, you're pretty much next on the docket. You want to be seeking shelter immediately. Where exactly that rotation is showing, that's where I would be looking for, especially into the coming minutes. So here's a track, the most recent scan that we have. I'm going to step off so you can get a good look at it right now. You see Lake Como, 8:34. You want to be seeking shelter immediately. Ross, 8:43. Waldrop around 8:44 into Rose Hill at 9 o'clock. That is in the next 30 minutes. It'll be in Rose Hill. If this thing still holds together and they expect to continue it into Clark County, well, you can expect Pachuta and Stonewall into Basic and Sable around that 9:31 timeframe. So about an hour from now, if it still is holding together and showing that rotation indicated in this storm, well, you could be seeing that still track into Clark County and even portions of southern Lauderdale County as well. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye as it's continuing to track more towards the northeast at roughly 35 miles an hour. Like I said, just to the east of Bay Springs is where that main area of rotation that we're looking for is. Lewin, you're not necessarily out of it just yet because you're still seeing a little bit of an area of rotation in there as well. Here's a look at current wind speeds as of right now, showing us here at Meridian roughly 17 miles an hour and into Philadelphia 19. Current wind gusts, though, are all the way up into almost 30 miles an hour for us here in Meridian, 32 up in Philadelphia, 23 down in Laurel, and I'm sure on that back half where that frontal boundary is actually pushing these storms further in, you're going to be getting those faster wind speeds as well. And associated with some of these storms, we've been having radar reports of up to 60 miles an hour with some of these cells. So just make sure you are keeping a very close eye on them just because, like I said, some of these things have very strong winds and very large hail associated with it as well. Heavy rain is going to make it very hard to see. You can see exactly what we're looking at in terms of that. It's just a big blob. So you're not going to be able to see any of these storms that are actually moving in because of that heavy rain in the nighttime. It's the worst time for you to possibly try to get any chance of seeing this. You're getting almost 8 inches an hour estimates in terms of our radar. That's a lot of heavy rain that's falling at one time. So that flash flooding threat on that back end of this is going to be something that we're going to be watching out for. But the main threat that we are watching for as of right now is still that tornado threat. Continue to push more towards the northeast. It's looking like that rotation is still in that Bay Springs, just to the east of that Bay Springs area. So we're going to be waiting for that most up-to-date scan to give you the best information into where exactly it's going to be heading. But you can see it's pretty much going to be in this area, just to the east of that Bay Springs area. Did they update this, or did they drop the one on that back end?
It's dropped.
Okay, so they dropped the area behind. So if you're in that Raleigh area, back towards that Highway 35 into that Merced area, it's going to be seeing, actually it did just update. I see it flashing, so I'll let you take over the update there if it's popping up.
I don't see anything that's
Okay,
it just continues. It just continues.
Okay, so they've continued that tornado warning into the rest of Jasper County, pretty much all of northern Jasper County. Bay Springs, you're still pretty much in the thick of it as of right now. You might be on that back half of the rotation that we're going to be watching out for, as this scan is still a couple seconds older, so we're not going to be seeing as it continues to propagate more towards the northeast.
But Smith is in the clear. All of Smith.
All of Smith County is in the clear. So if you are, we've been dealing with Smith County for pretty much the whole time here, and now is in the clear as of right now. So Raleigh, areas of Highway 35 and Highway 501, 481, back into closer areas towards that Bay Springs area. As of right now, you are in the clear. We'll still be tracking some weather on that back end, more towards the west, but right now we're going to be looking at that tornado warned storm. As of right now, it's showing that indicated area of rotation just to the east of Bay Springs, still pushing towards that northeast at roughly 35 miles an hour. So let's get you a track to give you the most up-to-date. I'm going to step off this way so you can see exactly what we're going to be looking for. 8:38, still Lake Como into the coming minutes. Ross around 8:45, Waldrop at 8:50. And if it still holds together by the time it gets to Clark County, Orange, Enterprise, Stonewall at 9:21, Enterprise at 9:17, Basic at 9:26, and it could even push into some portions of Highway 45 in southern Lauderdale County. So we're going to be keeping a very close eye on this cell. I believe it did just update with the newest scan. So is there any way that we can get rid of that so we can see exactly what the velocity signature is looking like as of right now? So still that broad area of rotation just to the northeast of that Bay Springs area. As of right now, it's still indicated right around that area that Dietrich just circled. You can see that where that green is mixing in with the red, still indicating that there's a broad rotation, but still rotation nonetheless. So as we track that more towards the northeast, here's the most up-to-date. It's actually showing into Middleton at 9:35. So like I said, portions of southern Lauderdale County will be included in this if it actually continues and holds together. So let's see exactly. 9:39 at Ross, 9:49 at Paulding, and by Rose Hill, 8:56 Pachuta, around 9:05 Enterprise at 9:13, Stonewall at 9:15. That will be in the next 45 minutes. It will be expected it to push into Clark County. But as of right now, Ross, Paulding, Rose Hill, places like that need to seek shelter immediately. This storm has a history of producing tornadoes that have touched down onto the ground. It hasn't in quite some time, but that doesn't mean it can't drop one at any minute. There's still a broad area of rotation indicated with a very strong system that will continue to push towards the northeast at roughly 35 miles an hour. So if you are within this polygon and further into the polygon into Clark County and southern portions of Lauderdale County, you want to be keeping a very close eye on this storm as we continue to watch it as well. But here's a little bit of the broad picture and exactly what we were seeing a little bit earlier. It's weakened compared to what we were seeing earlier in terms of the actual rotation. I'll get on this side so y'all can actually see it come into the area. So you can see how it kind of bows out and pushes further and further into that Jasper County. But we are getting further away from the radar, so it's harder to see exactly where that tidal rotation might actually be. But we're still indicating to where it's still just on that southern portions of that necessarily big bow right there, just to the east of Bay Springs. I'm going to keep my finger right there because that's the area that we're going to be looking for. Deetra, do you have an update?
Yeah, so we're just going to read some of these Facebook questions. I know some folks have had some questions, and we're just kind of trying to keep up with everybody. Folks are asking, is it going to impact Meridian? The warning does not include Meridian for now. So Meridian is not under any alerts, but again, we're going to be watching it as it pushes into the northern portions of Clark County. So again, you've asked about Meridian several times. No, Meridian is not under a warning, but you have showers and thunderstorms out there, and we're tracking this coming through Jasper County. If it can hold together, it will move into Clark County. And with that northeast track, if it can hold together, there's a chance it could push into southern Lauderdale County. So again, just a heads up about that. Just wanted to make that clear because we did have several questions regarding Meridian.
Yeah.
So again, if you're not under the polygon and if you're not within the cities that we show, that means that you're not under the gun, which is, or meaning you're not threatened,
Yeah.
so to speak, is a better
Exactly.
way to put that. So again, just an FYI, the only area under a tornado warning right now is the Jasper County area. And as mentioned by Chase, again, we're watching this area now east of Bay Springs and the area within the polygon, but heads up if you're in Stonewall, areas northeast of there, because if it can hold together, the warning could be extended.
Yeah. Do we have any thoughts on from the National Weather Service if they think that it's going to be extended as of right now?
Not yet.
Okay, so not as of right now. They're not planning on extending, but it goes until 9:15, and it's only 8:40, so it still has some time to travel across much of the area. Across much of this polygon. Like I said, the area that we're looking for is this area right here, just to the east of that Bay Springs area. It's going to be slowly pushing more towards the northeast at roughly 35 miles an hour. So if you are anywhere inside this polygon and looking in that Bay Springs area, continuing to track more towards that northeastern track, well, I need you to be seeking shelter immediately. If there's any way that we can zoom in a little bit closer on the area to give you more of a street view of what we're going to be looking at. So if you're in between Highway 528, 503, and Highway 18, this is the area of rotation that we're really looking for as it's continuing to track more towards the northeast. 503, Highway 18, and 528. So those highways are the names that we're looking at right now. So if you're in Ross and it's pushing more towards the northeast, Paulding in just a little bit around 503, and it's going to continue to track to that northeast around Highway 18, Rose Hill, Orange, you're not out of the clear just yet. You need to be seeking shelter immediately as this storm still continues to track towards the northeast. And if it does hold together, we're going to be expecting the National Weather Service to continue that warning. But as of right now, they haven't necessarily decided that. So let's get you a track on exactly where that area of rotation that we're looking at is going to be heading in the coming minutes. So I'm going to step off here so y'all can get a good look at what it is actually going to be heading. This gives you a broad idea. So no matter what, if you are included in this area, these things can shift and change the direction that it is actually moving. So it's very important that even though the rotation is not over you right now or looking like it's going to head right over you, you still need to be watching this very closely if you are included in any of these areas. 841 right now, if you're in Ross, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. 852 Paulding, you're up on the docket. And then same for Rose Hill. Just in the next 20 minutes, Rose Hill and Paulding, you need to be seeking shelter immediately. Orange, also same thing. You'd be seeking shelter immediately. Same thing for Pachuta and into Stonewall. Roy Sable around that 9:30 timeframe. Middleton around 9:39. And Causeyville, if it actually holds together, if it still has to hold together, it has about an hour until it can reach Causeyville. But like I said, it has to actually hold together as a whole.
That's right. And so we do have a report coming out of Jasper County Emergency Management. Received reports of some trees down with power lines down at 3670 Highway 15 between Bay Springs and Lewin. So that's 3670 Highway 15 between Bay Springs and Lewin. We do have reports of trees down and power lines down. So again, that is definitely something to be mindful of. If you live in that area, you don't want to travel at all because, again, we are possibly dealing with, again, trees that are down, maybe covering the roads. And so it's going to be a big issue in terms of the potential for you not to be able to maneuver. Are you getting some water?
Yeah, I'm going to
Okay.
get
So Chase is going to get some water. I'm going to keep you all updated. So again, I'm looking at Facebook right now, and I see a few questions here that have been asked. Again, right now we do have, again, a warning in place still for the Jasper County area, and I'm going to put up the latest track while I answer these questions that I have here pulled up on Facebook. Right now, the tightest rotation is around Ross, so you want to be in that lowest level of your home. You want to be away from windows. You want to be in a bathroom or a closet. If you're anywhere within this polygon, you want to be in that safe place. Again, we're watching this area that's located right about here. Again, that's where the rotation is right now in terms of the tightest rotation. So just a heads up, if you are in the Bay Springs area, you are now in the clear. You're still showing that you're in the western part of the polygon, but you are not where the rotation is located. However, according to Jasper County Emergency Management, around Bay Springs, we do have trees down and power lines down at 3670 Highway 15 between Bay Springs and Lewin. So just FYI, but Overall, in terms of this storm, Bay Springs, you're now behind where the rotation is. Same for Lewin. Again, the tightest rotation right now is basically crossing over 18, pushing towards 503, heading towards the Paulden area and sitting right on top of Folk. And again, it is still moving roughly at about 35 miles per hour. So let me give you the latest track before I give you the answers to some of these questions here on Facebook. So again, there's a look at some of the cities that are in the path. And in terms of some of the questions, a question was asked about Philadelphia. Philadelphia, you're in the clear from any tornadic activity for right now. We don't even see any rotation in your area for now. So if you're in Neshoba County right now, you're looking okay. Still dealing with rain. We also had questions about DeKalb. For right now, DeKalb also same scene. We don't have anything in terms of a rotating cell near you. But again, you want to continue to keep your weather P's and Q's, so to speak. You want to have ways of getting alerts because we are still monitoring a strong system that is going to continue potentially to bring us the threat for severe storms. We still have a lot of energy in the atmosphere, a lot of wind energy specifically. And so again, damaging wind is going to be a threat until that cold front crosses really. And we are also watching for, again, some of these storms to rotate. So right now, the only thing that we're tracking is this tornado warned cell in the Jasper County area. Again, the tightest rotation at last check was impacting the Folk area, and it's going to continue to move north and east. So again, if you see any of your neighborhoods on here, a family member's home maybe, that live in one of those cities that you saw, it went black, then you want to make sure you give them a heads up and let them know that this storm that is rotating and could spawn a tornado is heading in their direction and need to go ahead and seek shelter immediately and get to that safe place. Again, also frequent lightning affiliated with this. So this is not a situation where you go outside and see what you can see. For one, it's rain wrapped, it's dark, and also, again, we're talking about frequent lightning. So you want to be in that sturdy structure. You want to be on that lowest level of your home. You want to be away from those windows, preferably a bathroom, a closet, a basement, or a storm shelter. Grab the bike helmet, grab the gym shoes, put those on in case there's some debris that you have to maneuver through. You want to make sure you have on some shoes that could withstand that. You don't want to be barefoot. And again, you want to make sure that you are staying up to date because this is what we're watching here. This is the cell that is tornado warned. And even though the circulation is broadening out a bit, which is great news, but we have to wait to see, is it going to tighten up again? And also, is it going to be extended and maintain its punch, so to speak, as it moves into northwestern Clark County? So if you're in Enterprise, heads up for you. Start thinking about where your safe place will be. Again, we're watching this area of rotation here. Again, this is what we're watching. It looks distinct, but it is a bit broad. But again, it is pushing in that northeast direction, and which is going to be around Enterprise if it can hold together. It looks like it may clip the Pachuta area if it takes more of an eastward track, but now it's moving more northeast. But heads up for Pachuta. Continue to watch this. Orange is going to be heading in your direction. And here's a look at some of the other cities that you need to be mindful of as this storm, this rotating storm that could spawn a tornado, is heading in your direction. So again, Paulding is going to be heading towards you as we head towards A51. That's not too far from now, just a few minutes to get to that safe place. If you're in the Rose Hill area, it's going to be in your area close to 9 o'clock. We just had an update with this, and it looks like they're going to give us some more information. You have the updates, Chase?
Yes, I do have the updates.
Is your mic on?
My mic is on.
There you go. I hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So currently it's still moving. 35 miles an hour. It's located, the main area of rotation is 13 miles northeast of Bay Springs. Like I said, moving northeast at 35. It's been on a continuous track at the same speed. It has radar indicated rotation. I'm sorry, I was getting the same alert on my watch there. But
is there an update as far as like anything changed?
As of right now, nothing has changed.
Okay.
It's still moving, like I said, to the northeast, and it's still something that we're going to be watching out for. They haven't updated it in terms of thoughts on continuing it into Clark County.
Okay.
So right now it's just continuing it into Jasper County, and that's it as of right now.
Sounds good. All right. So let's go ahead and look at the hail. Let's see if hail is still affiliated with this, to see if that's something else that we have to kind of be mindful of. And it looks like there's still a hail core with this. We're still dealing with hail. Looks like it's under the threshold, at least based on radar. But again, this is just the radar estimate. Hail size, a little more than a ½ an inch or so. So again, that is affiliated with this tornado warned cell, along with very strong winds along with heavy rain, frequent lightning, so not a good time to travel in Jasper County. If you're in Lewin, you are in the clear. If you're in the Bay Springs area, you're in the clear. And if you're in Enterprise, if you're in Quitman, Pachuta, you want to stay put because, again, this is heading in your direction. You don't want to travel until you know what's going on. Here's a look outside. You're looking at Decatur right now. Again, nothing but a lot of raindrops. Rain is something we desperately need, and thankfully we're getting it. We just don't want it with the severe weather. So, again, it's a rainy scene as we look over downtown Meridian, similar for Livingston. Livingston, not as much rain as other spots, but just hold on. The rain is going to be pushing in. Actually, you're getting some steady rainfall. It's just not necessarily stormy there. But again, we're expecting storms to shift into our eastern counties, including Choctaw. So right now, Butler's seeing just a little bit of activity, but more rain is heading towards you. So right now, the only active tornado warning that we have right now is the one that's in Jasper County. Again, this was like a spinoff to the warning that was in Smith County. And at one point this evening, we had multiple tornado warnings in place for Smith County. Now we have this one that is now well east of Bay Springs. And again, this one includes parts of 18. Again, it's just going to the county line. And eventually, if it can hold together, it's going to push towards that Enterprise area. So let's get a little bit closer here again so we can see some of the communities and the roadways that are under the gun for now. Again, here's the Ross area. Here's the rotation that we're tracking. So it's really right on Ross. Hopefully, you're already in that safe place. Paulding, stay put in your safe place until this passes. Is crossing over what looks to be, can you kind of push it down? It looks like 503. There's 18 there. Going a little bit towards the east here, we have the orange area that I still believe is under this. There you go. We also have, again, this is going to continue to make its way towards the north and east if it can hold together. So that's going to put it into the Clark County area. But then we have Rose Hill that is sitting under this polygon as well. So what does this mean? This means that you still have the potential to be impacted by a storm that's rotating according to the radar, and it could drop a tornado at any time. As of right now, we haven't had any reports of a tornado in progress, which is good, but still a tornado is possible. It could form. Elements in the atmosphere still there, a lot of wind energy. Again, we do see rotation with this. So again, I see something very interesting in here. So we really want to make sure that if we are in this polygon, we are getting to our safe place and staying there. If you're not there already, hopefully you're already in your place of safety and you're watching us via your cell phone, trying to get the latest updates. If you are, again, if you're in Clark County, you're trying to figure out, do I take cover, do I not? Right now, you're okay in Enterprise. We'll let you know once this gets extended. Right now, the tightest circulation, we actually have two, looks like it looks relatively distinct, but they're shifting towards the county line. So again, not a good time to travel in Enterprise. If you want to make a quick stop to the store, I don't recommend that. If you're in the Enterprise area, you may want to stay in the house. Stonewall, a similar scenario, again, because we're watching what looks to be two areas of circulation under this tornado warning that is going to eventually push into the Clark County area. Now, will it be extended? Again, we have to wait for the National Weather Service to do so, but we do see rotation, two of them, that are pushing towards that Clark County area. So again, heads up if you're in any of these cities that are listed. Again, Rose Hill, again, you are going to remain in that safe place, hopefully, because this is going to be on top of you here in just a few minutes at 8:56. Eventually towards orange as we head towards that 901 time frame. But again, now we're pushing into Clark County. If this can hold together, if the warning gets extended, is going to be around Enterprise by 9:12. So within 10 minutes, again, there could be a storm that could spawn a tornado impacting the Enterprise area. So again, about 20 minutes, I should say, around 9:12. Again, this could be pushing towards the Enterprise area. So we want to just stay on guard. Again, have ways of getting the alerts. Continue to watch us. We'll stick with you every step of the way. We're not going anywhere until this warning is expired. And again, from that point, it could impact areas around the Stonewall area. So again, if you're in Clark County, stay put. Do not travel right now from Quitman to Stonewall to Pachuta as we track this rotating severe storm that could spawn a tornado that's pushing towards Clark County, moving at about 35 miles per hour. And again, it looks like it's just now east of, I believe that's 503. I'm not quite sure. But again, it's moving parallel to Highway 18 right now as it moves towards that county line. Chase, do you have an update?
As of right now, the National Weather Service has not updated it. They're looking on trimming the tornado watch as of right now. I don't believe they have done it yet. They're actually thinking about trying to extend either a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. So they're trying to figure that out as of right now with this system. But still, a very strong storm indeed. It has a very large hail core, has had a very large hail core for pretty much the whole time that it has been, that we've been tracking it ever since it was all the way back outside of our DMA. So tracking this thing has had up to an inch-sized hail, as well as damaging winds of 60 miles an hour or greater have been reported. We saw a report earlier that there were actually trees down and power lines down just between Bay Springs and Lewin along Highway 15 and 3670. Yes, I was making sure I had to say that right. But it'll be continuing to push to the northeast at roughly 35 miles an hour. That has not changed. The velocity is still showing that there's actually 2 indicated areas of the rotation, but they're not necessarily strong areas of rotation. So we're going to be continuously watching that.
Okay. Any updates on, have you been monitoring the Facebook chat to see what's happening there?
Let me get on there as of.
And while he's doing that, again, this is what we're watching here. Again, you see what looks to be a bit noisy. It looks like it's a whole lot happening, but we do see some areas that kind of stick out. You may notice the area that like a little bit of a pop of green and red that tends to be a bit more distinct, again, towards the northern portions of this polygon. So we're kind of keeping an eye on that for sure. And there's another little southern area there that also shows signs of rotation. That also, within the polygon, is something that we're watching. So 2 distinct areas, but both of those are pushing towards that north and east. So again, heads up if you're around Enterprise, and also if you're in southwestern Lauderdale County, this is something that we need to watch from, let's say, the southwestern portions to really across the extreme southern portions of Lauderdale County. If this takes more of an eastward track, if it can hold together, then it would be a threat for, let's say, the south or southeastern portions of Lauderdale. So again, Lauderdale County, Clark County, both counties, you want to be on guard because we're watching this area here in Jasper County, the northeast portions that looks like it's going to make its way towards the east or north and east, and it could be impacting portions of Clark County here shortly, and if it can extend or maintain itself, so to speak, then maybe it will be able to survive and put a damper or bring some threats per se to the southern portions of Lauderdale County. So again, as I mentioned, we're watching some distinct areas. This is one that we're watching. Here's another area of circulation there. Again, both are a bit broad. This one, though, catches my eye a little bit more than the other, but again, both are within the polygon. So if you're in the polygon, you still want to stay in that safe place. Can we zoom in a little bit tighter here just to see if we have some communities there that are in the path of that, especially as you make your way north? Again, if you're around 503, around 18, looks like the Rose Hill area, you need to stay in that safe place. Again, you're right near where all of the action is if you're in Rose Hill. So stay in your place of safety. Again, at lowest level, away from windows. Orange, also, you're a little bit farther east of the action right now, but it is shifting towards your area. So again, Rose Hill specifically, go ahead and get to your safe place. If you're not there already, you do need to be there because, again, this one looks a little bit more interesting, especially as you make your way over 503. Again, that's right where, again, some of you may have had plans on, let's say, traveling, or maybe that's your route to get to work. Maybe you start work at 10 o'clock and you were just about to hit the highway. Again, please take your time. You can let this storm pass before you get on those roads. Here's an updated view. We've included both of those areas of rotation, and we've kind of pushed this into the Clark County area. So again, right now, moving at about 35 miles per hour as of last check. And so that will put it towards the, again, Penantley area right now. So hopefully you're already in that place of safety. Rose Hill, as mentioned, right on top of you in just a few minutes. Eventually towards Orange, that's the southern portion of the, let's say, circulation. If that spawns a tornado, it'll be impacting the Orange area as we head towards 906, and then eventually over towards Enterprise by 917, and then over towards Stonewall about 920, again, if it is extended in terms of the warning, and if these circulations amount to spawning an actual tornado, if it verifies, so to speak, again, that's when you can expect to see some impacts, again, around those times that were mentioned. So, again, heads up for Stonewall, heads up for Enterprise, and even Pachuta, you want to stay tuned for updates. Anything coming down from the National Weather Service yet?
Actually, as of right now, they actually just canceled the tornado watch further to the west. So for Adams, Choctaw County, Mississippi, including Hinds County, Holmes County, Madison, all towards the west of us, they canceled all the tornado watches on the back end.
But our area still
is still under the tornado watch until 11 p.m. tonight, even though the storms are still firing up. And I really wanted to show that there is still storms on the back end that we are going to be watching for. Even though it's not necessarily in our area as of right now, there's still one storm off towards the southwest that has some potential of still staying strong and possibly hitting some portion, clipping Smith, clipping Jasper, southern portions of those counties. So something to be mindful of, even though it's not necessarily super close to our area. It could, if it does hold together, clip mainly southern portions of Smith and Jasper County.
Yeah, as you look at this on the reflectivity here, again, very noticeable. You can definitely see that kind of racing through there. That storm is on the move, and right now it is going to be entering the Clark County area. But again, in terms of the warning that will be issued, again, that's from the National Weather Service, so we're waiting to see. There is some rotation with that, though, so you want to go ahead and get to that safe place if you're an enterprise. This cell is moving relatively quickly. Again, at last check, it was 35. I wouldn't be surprised if it was sooner or sped up a little bit. Again, it had some hail affiliated with this. That's what the purple represents. The size looks to be smaller than it once was. There were reports of up to inch-sized hail or quarter-sized hail, so to speak, which is roughly about the size of a quarter an inch. But again, it looks a little smaller now with the latest scans. But regardless, hail is a possibility with this. Very strong winds, frequent lightning, blinding rain. And again, we're still watching this broad area of rotation. Now, the one thing about this is that as it continues to move east, it is getting farther away from the Jackson radar. That's how we can kind of look into a storm from the radar, the Doppler radar that's in Jackson. It allows us to see what's happening. But as you move farther away, because the Earth is circular, we can't see as well as we could as you get farther away because you're looking higher up in the atmosphere. But again, for us to be as far away as we are and there's still some rotation that's detected here, lets us know that there's a good chance that, again, there is definitely something worth noting, and you may want to just make sure you're getting to that safe place if you're in Stonewall or Enterprise, because this could be something that could be extended as a tornado warning. I wouldn't be surprised at all because it is rotating. We can definitely see that. So again, we have a rotating thunderstorm that has the potential to spawn a tornado. The current warning goes until 9:15, and right now it's 9 o'clock. So if they're going to extend this into Clark County, again, it's going to be knocking on the door of Enterprise at about 9:13, eventually towards Stonewall as we head towards that 9:15 time frame, and it can hold together. It'll be towards Basic by 9:21, and then eventually maybe over towards the Clarkdale Elementary School as we head towards 9:27. So if you live near any of the places mentioned, you want to make sure you're staying in the house, don't travel anywhere. You want to go ahead and get to that safe place, start making sure you gather the family, maybe getting everyone in one spot, whether it's, again, the hallway, the bathroom, the closet, on that lowest level, a basement if you have that, or a storm shelter, because, again, we're watching an area of rotation that is moving out of Jasper County, and it looks like it is going to move into the Clark County area. But, again, we're just waiting to see if it's going to be extended as a severe thunderstorm warning, which means you could have winds over or up to about 60 miles per hour, or you could be dealing with, again, the potential for a tornado to spawn with this. So we'll see what the National Weather Service does in terms of how they will warn this as we go further down the stream. But generally speaking, we're watching this area around Rose Hill. You still need to be in your safe place. Again, crossing over 18, this is where the tightest rotation is. Don't travel if you live near there. Again, don't travel up and down 59 if you have plans on jumping on 59 really quickly. Maybe you're Beatrice and you want to make your way up towards, let's say, Enterprise real quick, or if you wanted to make your way, let's say, west, still don't travel. Don't travel into Jasper County just yet. Again, let all of this make its way out of the area before you hit the roads. As we look at a big view of what's happening here, again, we still have a lot going on. It's going to be tricky travels regardless of where you're located. If you're in Neshoba County, if you're in Kemper County, here, let's get a bigger view of what's happening out there. And again, we have showers and thunderstorms all across the area. This is liquid sunshine in terms of the rain. We need this. This is helpful. But what we don't want to see is the tornadic activity, the damaging winds, and unfortunately that is still a possibility. I'm sure in many spots the atmosphere is kind of stabilizing a bit with the heavy rain that we've been getting in many locations, but especially this southern tier is definitely something for us to keep an eye on as the atmosphere remains a little bit more volatile. So again, all across our area dealing with wet weather for the most part, with the exception of Choctaw County. You haven't had much yet, but it's coming. And again, we now have an update. It's going to be extended into the northwestern portions of Clark County and the southern portions of Lauderdale County as a severe thunderstorm warning, but again, there has been rotation. So you still want to get in that safe place. I would recommend that. I still wouldn't travel because there's the potential that this could maybe spin up a little tighter later and they may change the warning. But for right now, once this warning ends at 9:15, we're going to get you back to programming. And again, there will be a severe thunderstorm warning that will be in place until what looks to be 10 o'clock for the northern portions of Clark County, which includes Enterprise, Stonewall, and the south and southeastern portions of Lauderdale. So you want to make sure still that you're taking heed to that. There could be some hail with this. That could be close to 1 inch or so. And again, the winds could still be very strong, over 58 miles per hour. Chase?
Yeah, they're actually, with this update, the storm system still has a tornado possible tag on it. So don't be surprised if we do have to cut in again, just because there is still that very broad area of rotation. So if it does decide to get its act together later on down the line, don't be surprised if we have to hop on in again. But as of right now, we're still seeing that severe thunderstorm warning continue across the area. Still, gusts of 60 miles an hour along that I-59 corridor are going to be anticipated throughout the rest of the afternoon or the rest of the evening time frame as well. So as it continues to track more towards the northeast, Highway 11, Highway 45, and I-59, this system right here, still a small hail core. Reports of nickel-sized hail still continuing across that I-59 corridor. You want to try to get off the road as fast as possible because even though there's still very broad rotation, there's still little hail, and into the winds as well as still 60 mile an hour gust as well. So we're going to be watching for that. So you can see that little hail core. It has been diminishing as the rotation has continued to broaden. And here's the look at the current wind gust as of right now, 28 miles an hour here across Meridian, 29 up in Philadelphia and Louisville. So very windy at times. And when the highest wind gusts that we've probably seen across the day will gust up to 30, 35, depending on where you might be. Now here's a look at the rest of the night tonight. In about an hour, these storms are going to continue to move through the area and into the much of the overnight time frame. We're still going to be dealing with a lot of heavy rain and very strong winds into much of the overnight time frame. Some of these storms could possibly have that tornado, so it's very important that you do have ways of staying updated into the overnight time frame. Around 2 a.m., still have that slight chance to be dealing with some of these storms, which could be severe. And as they push off towards the west, we'll start to see a little bit more of the clearing on the back end at 6 a.m. You'll be waking up to start your day looking fairly nice. We'll be on that back end of the storm and be able to actually look at some of the stuff that has transpired today. We'll probably cruise from NWS Jackson. We'll be able to get out towards the areas where we actually saw touchdowns a little bit earlier into our day. So that's going to be something that we're going to be watching out for into the morning time frame as well. So we'll be able to get you more information about the tornadoes that actually touched down across much of East Mississippi and Central Mississippi as well. But like I said, we're still dealing with that tornado warning until about 9:15 tonight. So in the next 10 minutes, it is expected to expire. The severe thunderstorm warning has been continued for northern Clark County and southern Lauderdale County as well. That includes the Stonewall just to the north equipment. You're still going to be getting some very strong winds and very heavy rain at times. You see that very broad area of rotation. Still, it has a little bit of it. It's trying to get its act together, to be honest with you, just to the west of that I-59 corridor, continuing to make its way towards that northeast. So like I said earlier, don't be surprised if we have to cut in one more time because this thing has been going for most of the night. And I know it's running into a lot of issues in terms of what is going on in the atmosphere. There was a lot of rain in this area earlier, so it doesn't have as much energy to tap into as it would have if it did fire up earlier into the day. But still, multiple areas of broad rotation that's going to be continuing off towards the northeast. It's not nearly as strong as we were seeing a little bit earlier into what we were seeing, but still, broad rotation is something we're going to have to be continuously watching for. There's a tornado possible tag with this storm. There's also a couple areas that we're going to be continuously watching throughout the rest of the evening. So let's get a track on where exactly it's going to be heading. I'll step over here so you can get a good idea. 9:09 in Beecher. So in the next couple minutes, Enterprise 9:15. The next less than 10 minutes from now, it'll be roughly into Enterprise as well. If it does hold together, like I said, it does still have a tornado possible tag, so don't take this just for granted and a little grain of salt just because it's a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're going to be watching that very carefully. By Stonewall, 9:19, Basic at 9:22, Sable at 9:30. So this is going to be something that we're going to be continuously watching into the overnight hours as well, just because this storm has a history of producing very strong storms. And actually, here's some of the storm reports that we have more towards the west of us. This was where we actually saw the confirmed touchdown just a little bit earlier in the day today, just to the west of Smith County and along just to the north of the, I believe that was the McGee area, or in Simpson County as well, into the sanatorium. That's where we saw that confirmed tornado on the ground just a little bit earlier into our day, 6:43 p.m. We did have one at 7:44 as well. That should be the one that was a little bit closer to us. That was reported by the National Weather Service a little bit earlier. There was also the one that we were tracking through Leake County. It actually touched down in Madison. It pushed more towards the northeast and thankfully died out as it went into portions of northern Neshoba County. So we were watching that one very closely earlier into the day. And thankfully, things are starting to calm down a little bit. There's still that area of broad rotation into northern Clark County, southern Lauderdale County that we're still going to be watching out for into much of the overnight time frame. But like I said, very broad rotation. Still, we have that severe thunderstorm warning still tacked on to that. So it's winds of up to 60 miles an hour are to be continued across the area, as well as even some possible large hail. Still, it has been associated with the system, but it'll continue to track more towards the northeast. Stonewall, Pachuta, you're going to be watching it along the Highway 11, Highway 45, and Highway 145 need to be watching out for this as well. And even 514, 513, and I-59, you're going to be wanting to watch this all still very closely as it continues to make its way towards the northeast. A lot of lightning, a lot of large hail, and very strong winds are still going to be associated with this storm system. So, and there's a couple areas of that very broad rotation that we're still going to be continuously watching through much of the overnight hours. Dieter, is there any update or any questions that we might have?
No questions, no updates. Again, we're just kind of waiting a few more minutes, and then once the entire circulation pushes into Clark County, we will join everyone back to programming and continue to monitor the storms as we go through the night.
Yeah, we're going to be continuously watching this, and like she just said, if you did not hear her, it's going to be pushing off to the storm system is going to continue pushing off towards the east, northeast. Still a very broad area of rotation, so don't be surprised if we do have to cut in again. But as of right now, it's looking a whole lot weaker and weakening into much of northern Clark County, southern portions of Lauderdale County. Still broad rotation. Be very cautious of the storm. It has a history of producing a tornado as it continues to make its way towards the northeast. That tornado warning will expire at 9:15, and if they don't plan to extend any tornado warning for any other system in our DMA, we'll get you back to regular scheduled programming. But as of right now, still dealing with that storm system pushing more towards the northeast, and it's now pretty much encompassing Stonewall in areas along the Highway 45, Highway 145, and then Stonewall. You just want to be careful as the storm system continues to make its way towards the northeast. Are we good? Okay, we are going to return you now back to regular scheduled programming. And like I said, if we have anything else for the rest of the night tonight, we will come back on. But as of right now, stay safe, everyone, and have a great rest of your night.